What's that supposed to mean?
Just use your method.
Okay. I'm really not that green, I'll figure it out. Oh, my goodness.
It's two words,
Yeah, okay.
and it's not very nice.
It's okay, I love that. I kind of expected it to be a little longer.
A little?
I don't think I got your first name.
Richard.
Richard, nice to meet you. We both.
Mr. Lewis.
I got it, I got it. I like that.
We had fun.
You should be having fun.
Have more fun.
Oh, my gosh. Can't take things too seriously.
Oh, they do, you know.
These things just kind of pop up in my, they said, could we have you? I'm like,
She was hoping you didn't leave me, sure. Okay, we got 2 minutes, I can sit down there.
So welcome, trash and recycling. Not on the agenda tonight, but we're in town, so.
Anytime you let us come, we can sit in.
That's it, and congratulations.
All big business.
Right, right. Yeah. Congratulations to you, you step up and.
Yeah, it's just walking seats, I guess.
Right, right.
Here, I'm Vicky.
Okay, good. Nice to meet you.
yeah, there's your.
Okay, yeah. I have, okay, good, good. Yeah, sorry.
And nine is William. Was it Don Williams?
Her mom's having surgery in Austin, she just got out, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's doing okay. Way over.
Yeah, she's 92, not bad, yeah.
She's 92, so.
Yeah, it could be tricky,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, they might.
Don.
She'll be all right.
Yeah, they think so. Said they may, well, we told her oncology, or I'm gonna take you to oncology, so. They said most likely, if they weren't to do it, so she can't deliver at home.
Yeah.
So she could do that. Her health is not.
Anyway, and that age,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I don't mean that.
No, but yeah, I understand what you're saying. Sir.
Who was the mayor right after John Aaron? Was it Don? No.
Six, we start.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today seeking your counsel, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. May we be guided by your grace to engage in meaningful discussion. Please steer us in a direction that allows us to grow closer as a group and enable us to nurture the bonds of community. Lord God, please oversee our actions and discourse as we make decisions that might affect those we serve. And continue to remind us that all that we do here today, all that we accomplish is not for our benefit, but for the pursuit of truth, and for the glory of you, and for the service of the community. Amen.
Amen.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
that's perfectly fine. I probably won't take that long.
No matter how elegant it is, we don't talk about it. That's
Well, I appreciate you thinking that it's going to be elegant. I, on the all business, I don't know if you can answer my question, but did you vote on the interior design agreement?
No.
No, okay, that's why I was, okay. That's what I wanted to talk about. I have no bones about who you choose as an interior designer. I just want to say that I do, I'm not here to get a job. Let me just say that. I do interior design for a custom home builder in Marble Falls, and my job isn't as much to design the interior as it is to go out and get the best rate, the procurement process. And unless I'm wrong, I feel like we're obligated to go get bids to make sure we're getting the best prices on things that are materials and surfaces. And I will say that if you do go with the agreement that's been proposed, you are at their beck and call as far as the installation fees they want to choose on what they're installing, as well as their materials. And they could very well mark that up quite a bit higher than what you would pay if you would bid it out independently. So I love Kimmy. I have no problem with that. That's not what I'm here. I just have a vested interest in this club, and I want to make sure we do it right. So, thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Okay, citizen comment, that was it on citizen comments. Let's go ahead and do the standard reports, the city manager's report of the utilities for Johnny, or you do the utilities for Johnny. Johnny, you do them? We'll let Johnny do them. Ordinance and animal control, patrol activity, and building committee. And then we'll call on the golf pro to do the golf operations. Go ahead and start your report.
Sounds good. All right, so in the last month, we've had a lot of progress. Updates on those are kind of included throughout this agenda, so I won't go into them too in depth. Some things that are not their own agenda items include the website and our online presence. So I want to include that in my report, where I think it's a good idea for us to go ahead and start updating our website. We can do it for a relatively low cost. As you'll see in our budget presentation later on, we're a little bit below budget right now for our administrative department. So if we can find a cost that's acceptable. Our website, though not, terrible, I think it could use a little bit cleaning up and updating. And it's a little unwieldy because it's a little bit older of a design from the past. Along with that, there's other outlets that people go to besides just the website for information, like Facebook, Instagram. There's a lot of social media platforms that we can look at. So we don't have to have a big discussion about this, but I want to inform the council that's something we're looking at, and I think it is within the budget to make sure that we have a good online presence. Any questions about that or comments to add from the city council or mayor? Or employees? Yeah.
So if we were to do that, would we be able to integrate the Metal Lakes website into our website so people could maybe get tee times from the website, or would that be too much?
Yeah, I think we could easily do that.
And if nothing else, it'd have a link that you could jump out and go to. Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's an excellent question.
And the other thing is we need a website that we can archive our past minutes, which we cannot do on our current website. So there's information that we cannot archive, and that's going to be important for us. We've got the ordinances on there, but it needs to be a little more friendly for people to find things. So I think it's really going to be
Well-
but we need to integrate all of the Meadow Lakes activities on there, I think.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
I'm one of the ones that brought it up because I was searching for something the other day, and a lot of us, I mean, I have a laptop obviously, but if I'm just searching for something, I'll use my phone. And the current website is built to where it doesn't scale down very well for adapting to a device like a phone, And it's just, it's 15 years outdated, honestly. It needs an update. And I think we need to integrate the golf course activities into the city website as well, because the city owns the golf course, so we can do that.
One thing I noticed is that, go ahead, Christine.
It'd be nice, I think, if you use the calendar too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good
I
point.
agree. I was going to say, what was I gonna say? No, when I log on to it, I get white fonts against almost a white background.
you can't read
And you
it.
can't read it.
Right. That was the other thing with the phone, is the font, yeah.
Yeah, you can't read it. It's just like writing on this piece of paper with white ink.
Yes.
It doesn't work very well.
So I guess the question is, what do we need to do?
Well,
It's not on the agenda, so let's just pass it on and say that's something
well,
we'll address that later.
there's no action needed by the city council for this. I'm open to suggestions or direction from the city council or mayor on this, but I think that just doing a basic survey of services that we can get a cost comparison, look at some other comparably sized and comparably supplied cities to see what they have, so we might be able to expect or know what to expect. And we can probably hit the ground before next month to have updated proposals for website that's 2026 worthy, as
Why
well
don't
as looking at any kind of online presence.
Just bring us all the particulars at next month's meeting. We can talk about them then, I think, in
Okay.
detail. I think it's good enough to just bring it up that that's something on the radar.
Sure. And then also I hadn't written it in here, waste management. Do you want to say anything? Did I say waste management?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, yeah.
Matt, come
I
on
want to
up.
make sure I didn't say waste connection. But do you want to talk about what we had previously described in our lunch meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, last week, I met with Will and Johnny, about looking into taking over the brush collection that you're currently doing right now, and also, how we can accommodate the leaf collection and the way you're currently doing it with the vacuum truck. So I'm gonna meet with my district manager's on vacation right now, he'll be back next week, but my director, we're gonna meet with him and talk about how you're currently doing it, and so we can pitch some options for us, WM, taking that collection over. And collecting the brush unbundled, just like your residents are currently allowed to do it, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm Matt Myers with WM, Waste Management. I help manage the franchise contract that we currently have you for the residential trash and recycling service.
Yeah, and thanks, Matt.
Okay,
So I wanted to bring this up because our site where we take the refuse from yard waste probably won't be viable forever. With the climate becoming a little bit drier around here in recent years, burning has become problematic. It's a location where we did have a brush fire, and though we've taken steps to mitigate any risk there, down the road we may not be able to burn there at all. So we'll have to at least look at alternatives to what we can do there. We also have our utility employees every week going around for about 8 combined hours picking up brush. If that's something that we can take off without, adding to the cost, I think it's worth looking at. So, two new things. Sorry, Johnny? Oh, and then the leaf collection too. That's entire crew working for a week each year, combined to pick up the leaves around town.
Difficulty in before we were just covering it up, but we're to the point where we can't cover up with that side anymore, so the leaves will have to be hauled off. The leaves was a problem with the fire.
Yeah, the leaves you can't really burn. They're a huge hazard and can go everywhere, and they can combust over time because when you bury them, they start fermenting or rotting.
Okay.
All right, any questions for me in general on city manager operations before we move on? All right, Johnny, do you want to do the utility operation briefing?
Utility crews have been mostly dealing with, take those things away, dealing with the pro shop and the temporary food and beverage building. We're winding down those operations now. We got a lot of cleanup to do, got some trim to put up, so we're very close on that. And that, of course, I'm jumping to the conclusion because I talk about that in an ongoing project as well. But that's where most of their time's been. We've answered the normal water and sewer calls, nothing major in any of those. They've had to dig up the main a couple of times to replace some valves, but nothing, no major issues. Water consumption, for March was up about 4 million gallons over February, about 1.4 million gallons over March of last year. And I gave you a chart kind of showing it. But the average water consumption for March was 12,600 gallons compared to 6,700 gallons last month and 9,000 gallons in March of last year. So water consumption was up. Of course, it was pretty dry. Of course, now water consumption for April is going to be in the pits, which is good. Upcoming work, the sewer vac truck has been down. It should be repaired and ready to run tomorrow. I'm hoping there is a little issue with the street sweeper that we hope to get in the shop and get fixed, or we can at least make a couple of rounds in the next month or so of street sweeping. We'll have to wait till after the rain before we get all the mud picked up. The other issue that's been, I think I've reported several times on is and I think Will has too, is the issue on the sewer problem over on Broadmoor. I'm awaiting on a contractor because our cameras and our sewer cleaner, they got the sewer cleaner through it, but it got hung up. They finally got it out of that stoppage. The line is still, sewage is still flowing through the line, but we're picking up rocks and clay and everything else. So that means it's separated somewhere. So waiting on the contractor to give us a price. It's not going to be cheap because we're going to have to go down 17 or 18 feet and most likely have to dig 40 foot each way to get the pipe level back out. So we hadn't talked over Will and I guess we're going to have to make the motion to actually go talk to the property owners because it's going to destroy their yard. Yeah. But and part of the street because, getting down that deep with trying to get through with all your shoring and everything, you're going to have a pretty good sized hole. But you'll go down first and just locate and see what it is. And it may be something simple that can be repaired without digging up and relaying a pipe. But let's hope that's what it is.
Do you know about where it is?
Yeah, we know exactly where it is.
Oh, you know exactly.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, well that
There's
helps
a circular
a whole lot.
driveway and it's right in the middle of it.
Okay, good.
But we're going to have to deal with probably losing a tree, which is in our right of way. So, and plus, probably digging or replacing both the circular driveways, entrances off the street, and probably have to do some street cutting into the street some too, because it's about 3 foot off the curb, 4 foot off the curb, and to get a trench box in, Mike knows what I'm talking about. You get the trench box in, which is something that we don't have the equipment to do this. We can go down to about 10 or 12 feet and dig, and we have the shoring for this, but I'm not comfortable letting our crews dig 17 or 18, 19 feet, and because it takes a whole different cribbing, shoring, everything than what we're used to. So that's why we're talking to a contractor. And again, it's not going to be cheap, but it's something we're going to have to do. It's just one of those things. Fortunately, this is the only major one of these we've had in probably 20 years. We had some issues on some other streets, but we resolved those. So, anyway, that's kind of the update. We'll keep you updated because I'm planning on, we talked this morning, I'll get to that in a minute. And I'll plan on sending out maybe a weekly update on utility operations as well as some construction.
Okay.
All right, ordinance and animal control. All right, moving on to our ordinance officer report. It was a pretty average month in terms of our calls received and our compliance rate with violations given out. One thing in talking with Carolyn that I think we need to get going is a little bit improved tracking system, which will be on the administrative end, and I'll talk with Steve about that too, to track not just the reports we get, or not just the times he interacts with them, but the reports we get coming in for him, because some of these are happening again and again, and we want to make sure that doesn't continue to happen. There's also a public interest to it, where although it takes time to get something cleaned up, we don't necessarily have the information readily available to them or to ourselves. So sometimes they call in and one employee won't know what's going on with a certain property when another one does. So we need to make sure that we have a single database so we can all go to and see what's going on in our community for code enforcement. Not necessarily all publicly accessible because there are privacy concerns and nobody likes having all their business on the internet, but we've gotten plenty of reports of some of the same properties, and we gotta get those going better. Again, I always mention this with the ordinance officer report, it is primarily complaint driven, so if you see something wrong, please let us know, and we'll get the ordinance officer over there. You can also call City Hall directly, as well as the ordinance officer hotline. Any questions with that from the City Council or
I do.
comments?
I think one of the things wanted to make sure is that if a citizen sees something and has a complaint to file to Steve, that we need to make sure that it's followed up in a timely manner. And so the reason I wanted more reports is, I don't know if whenever there's warnings and they've complied, is that a repeat offender? And to me, I think that's one of the things we need to look at.
Yeah.
And I really think that also I'd be interested in how much time he is spending on going through, because I can see more violations driving down the street. And I just think that we have to be consistent so that we are doing the same thing for every resident property. So that's the reason I'd like a little more detailed report.
Can
Sounds
we
good.
can we work that kind of on the, some sort of a database system that's accessible, like on iDrive to all employees, and then so that Steve can get it in there and indicate how many times these guys have been issued warnings?
Yeah, we'll get it accessible to everybody once it's up and going. Of course, with consideration to privacy concerns, just like any
Well, it'd just
member
be
of the
open to
public.
people here, the staff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the staff would have to know what they can and can't get
Oh,
out,
yeah,
is
well,
what I'm
that's-
saying.
oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right, we can move on unless there's anything else on that agenda item. Next, we have the animal control report. Our officer control officer, Jared Mason, says that spring is here, and with the warmer weather, he's seen a lot of snakes. Coral snake was killed on St. Andrew. Be aware and watch your surroundings when outside. He said multiple dogs have been running loose in Meadow Lakes. They were all picked up and returned to the rightful owners. There were several verbal warnings given to residents for their dogs not being on a leash. And that's something common where dogs within Meadow Lakes are supposed to be leashed when not contained within a fence.
I do have a question since David's here. They're supposed to be walking dogs on the golf course?
Not from 7 to 7. When we get a call that, what we do is just tell them to run.
Yeah, we need to,
After 7 or before 7.
we need to remind people, because I know golfers are out there at least at 7 in the morning, because I'm on number 2 and I can see them, and I see people walking, and so we need to remind people about walking and walking their dogs, not between 7 and 7.
Yeah, I agree.
What do we put it on a little blinky sign at the gate? Because obviously newsletters don't do any good. At least people can see the blinky
Yeah.
sign when they're driving out. Because it's only gonna get worse as we get closer to the summer. You're gonna, all
Yes,
this,
it will.
happens every year.
Yeah, it's good to know that newsletters don't do any good.
I just go by what people say. They're like, we have a newsletter here?
Yes.
Okay, enough.
All right, moving on to our patrol activity. In March, Deputy Chofee patrolled for 51 hours in our community. He gave out 7 citations and 21 warnings. He has been trying to get a hold on the kids or the young adults who have been on electric bikes and scooters and golf carts without a lot of success because they're keeping an eye open, and he's not here. Like I said, he was only here 51 hours throughout March, so picking when those times are for him to be around to catch them is critical. With patrol activity and road conditions, we also moved one of the radar signs, see if you can figure out where that's at. And with community policing, we've also had some scams going around our community. We had one, do you want to cover this, Johnny, or should I? Okay, well,
No.
hackers were able to obtain access to one of our computers, which was within an hour, isolated and unplugged, and it was able to infect one other computer, which was also isolated and unplugged at the same time. This is done through a phishing scam where somehow a hacker had previously gotten a hold of an employee's trusted contact online and sent them an email saying, hey, please click here, basically. And once that happens, it is able to get into your computer. So be aware that if something seems a little bit out of line, or just, you know, it'll come from someone you know, and it'll just say, hey, click here to see my invitation, or look at these pictures or whatever. And it's pretty insidious because they really can catch you off guard. However, we're gonna make sure that we do a deep dive into all of our network, that nothing else is remaining. We've already contacted TML and on-site computer and gotten it scrubbed. So nothing to be concerned about. It's also a good lesson for why we have redundancies in our security before you can get onto any kind of bank account, because they can have full access to our computers here. They wouldn't be able to get a dime from our banks, but what they could potentially do, and this is what a lot of hackers try to do, is they find server that has a lot of critical information on it, and then they freeze it and say you have to pay us X amount to get your information back. So that's not going to happen because we were able to detect it and get it shut down and fixed. But please be aware out there, there are scammers going around trying to get access to your computers millions of times a day, every day.
Was the trusted contact who sent the email, I mean, it was fake. They pretended to be that trusted contact, I guess.
This was really a weird one because I got it because of someone that I knew, and because I always check on email
Yeah,
to see if it's coming from the person with their name.
yeah.
It did.
Well, I guess there's one more detail to this that I should not leave out, is that the way it propagates itself is that the hacker then has access to your computer, so they go into whatever's still logged in. In this case, it was an email account, and so it went to every single person who had ever been contacted or contacted this email account and sent them a blind carbon copy of the same malicious email.
But it changed it to my email address.
Yeah, but it was
Oh.
accessed from the email address, so it was a legitimate email that someone got unauthorized access to. And we sent out another email saying, you know, this happened, don't click on it, but.
Did it say anything about just time is of essence, that we gotta get this done fast?
No, it was what it was a friend that I knew. It was
Oh.
e-invite.
It was-
you know.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that happened, oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
the e-invite is,
What is it?
been going around.
Blue Cloud or Blue
Yeah.
something, which is a legitimate website.
yeah,
But you click on it to get open the invite and
yeah.
I got an evite the other day, and it was from a guy that had died, but he's still on my list, and he sent me an email that invited me to his house, and I thought, well, this is a dead giveaway here.
Also, I noticed on the patrol activity report, he did give a citation for a unlicensed driver on a golf cart. And as you said, now as we get into warmer days, we're gonna have much more of that happening. But I'm not sure how we handle that as the real problem, because I know I've had residents tell me they've tried to see where the kids were going home, but I guess what is the solution, or not a solution, but what should people do? I mean, they can't really follow kids home, but,
No, you should not follow kids home, that's right.
Yeah.
However, if you know the person, I always suggest being neighborly. Some people don't like being told what to do at all. 9 times out of 10, in my personal experience, if if my neighbor comes to me and says, hey, I just wanted to make you aware that you're you're in violation of the code, or this was an issue, I say thank you and try to correct it. Now, 1 time out of 10, there's someone out there that doesn't want to do that. And that's why I say you shouldn't follow the kids home, and maybe you don't want to approach them. Best thing you could do, if you do know where they're at, is let City Hall or law enforcement, preferably City Hall, so we can let them know. And if you can find out who owns the
Okay.
vehicle, then we can contact them and
Okay.
let them know they're in violation.
I guess then that kind of brings up another question, and that is, if you see a golf cart that is not registered, then then somehow we need to report it, or do they get fined if they're not registered?
The ordinance says they have to be registered.
Okay,
Yeah, what's the enforcement if it's not registered?
The enforcement there is that we can go out and find them and give them a ticket. If it's easiest when Officer Chofie or Deputy Chofie is in town, but we can still get it done if they're not
And
here.
is that,
Yeah.
It's an ordinance violation, it's not
Yeah.
a traffic code violation, so.
yeah, is that fine defined in our code? Like how much it is?
Yeah, there's a penalty section where if they,
I think it goes to the court.
yeah, if they don't want to pay it, it would go to judgment by Judge Adams, right?
So is there a way that we can amend the ordinances to where we can have any motorized vehicle in the city of Meadow Lakes has to have a registration? Because that would include the electric scooters, which I've observed go at least 40 miles an hour,
Yeah.
which is way
Um,
faster than a golf cart.
Let me check on that, because I'm not sure about, like, we might get preempted by some state laws on, like, motor
yeah,
vehicles.
that's what I'm concerned
Yeah.
about, yeah.
But I can check and see what the most stringent kind of registration we can apply
Yeah.
is.
Because Officer Chaffee said that they were under a different ruling, and that, which is why they could drive all over the street, because our streets aren't striped. We don't have lanes, and,
So Meadow Lakes Drive.
except Meadow Lakes Drive, yeah.
But I will, I'll look up and see what we can do to require registration for vehicles in town. And now that we have our ordinances updated online,
Yeah.
we have no reason not to take a look at them.
All right. Let's move on. Building Committee?
All right, in the month of March, Meadow Lakes Building Committee issued 1 fence permit and 1 arbor pergola permit for a total of 2 issued. 3 denied, 1 was a fence, 1 was a pergola, and 1 was a swimming pool. And then there are currently 11 in progress, 3 remodels, 5 new constructions, 2 swimming pools, and 1 other enclosed garage. Which jogs my memory to bring up that in our code, there is no distinction that I'm able to find, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're looking at above ground versus below ground pools. And I believe that they're just both subject to the term swimming pool. So that if you erect an above ground pool, it has the same conditions as a below ground pool or in-ground pool, which means it has to have approval by the building committee before it goes up.
I think one question came up, someone asked me, because on the golf course, the fence can only be 4 foot high, but what's the requirement if you have a pool? 5 feet? Okay, then that's the problem, because I know that they've approved pools on the golf course, and I've seen them, and that's why I was just curious of, we're in conflict with our ordinances, let's put it that way. Is that something we either need to, I don't know what we do, but we're in conflict.
Say that again, how are we in conflict?
Well, because
4 foot high?
because 4 foot high, but for a pool, it's supposed to be 5 foot for
Oh.
safety reasons.
Well, yeah,
Non-climbing pool with locking gates, because when they put the pools in, they check all of that, that the gates automatically
Yeah.
lock
Yeah,
and stuff like
But isn't the code 4 foot?
that.
on the golf course.
Well, that's what I'm saying, you have your own ordinance.
Ordinance is 4, but I think the state requirement is 5.
I know the code, building code
Mike, is it at least 4 feet, or is it just exactly 4 feet?
4 feet.
4 feet or higher?
4 or higher, yeah.
Can be higher, okay.
That's something I'll check on. I'll
Okay.
get clarification, because if,
It's just, we need consistency, I guess is what I'm looking for, because if sometimes like on these, it says denied or tabled, I don't know which ones these are, whether tabled or denied, but so that we are, that, you know, we're being consistent with every resident, that's all.
Check and see whether it's max or min too. I think it sounds like it's a max. The 4 feet's a maximum.
that's correct.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
the way the
Yeah.
POA originally was written.
Property.
Yeah.
The fence around your property, if you're on the, back up to the golf
Yeah.
course, cannot be higher than 4
Okay.
feet.
And I do know we've got fences on the sides of the property that are higher than 4 foot.
Yes.
There's one on number 7, I know, down toward the, but, so that's what I'm saying, I think we're just, somehow or other, we've gotten inconsistent with these fences and the height and the golf course and,
Yeah. Okay.
okay, so.
Let's see, building committee, is that still it? That's
Yeah.
it?
That's it for
Okay.
building committee.
Okay, very good, very fast. Now the golf operations. David, do you have a good report for us?
For the record, I do like your newsletter, so. I enjoy your newsletter.
You've already, that's okay. You've already said what you thought about it.
No, I said, never mind. All right, real quick, I mean, we've obviously moved into the golf shop a couple of months ago. We're all pretty much settled in. We've got, I would say 90-ish% of the stuff where we want it. I can't say it's been easy, but we've got it done. It's awesome that the guys, they come up just about every day if we need something. They're really good about helping us out. As far as communication's been great. We always know when they're gonna be doing something that could conflict with any of our golf stuff. So, they've been really good about keeping in contact with us. We keep stuff out of the way so they can get their work done. We are in the process of killing the old chipping green that's over there by the tennis court. It's been roped off, and we put our first application of Roundup on it last Thursday. And we'll do at least three more of those Roundup treatments to kill all the grass that's under there. Obviously, you have to kill the grass before you put new grass in. So once that's done, Jason Kelly is going to be there for every step of the way. And he's checked in with me today, and looked at the conditions of the grass, came out and looked at some of the greens as well, and gave me some ideas to do in the interim between now and we get into the really hot months.
Yeah.
We've done an unbelievable 6 weeks. We've had 747 golf tournaments, I think, in the last 6 weeks. I'm sure if anybody's been up there in the last several, we're either getting a tournament in or getting one to send back out. But my staff has been unbelievable. I've hired a new full-time guy. His name is Jason Cutler. I'm sure a lot of you have known him. He worked with me here years ago with the restaurant. He's a good friend of mine, and he's an unbelievable worker. You can ask Isaiah. I don't think he has a butt cheeks. He just never sits down. He's always doing something. So it's nice to have somebody that's what's the word I'm looking for? Well, basically, he knows what to do with the golf course. We don't have to keep him on a stringent plan. He does all of his stuff. My high school kids are unbelievable. I've got a newer high school kid that started a few weeks ago. He's awesome. So staffing going into summer, I think we're looking pretty good. I'm waiting for a gentleman that was going to do my afternoon patrol on the golf course. He broke his leg, and not a very good way, almost like a Lindsey Vonn break. So he is going to be our marshal in the afternoons when he is obviously well enough to do that. Yeah. We have also been going out at nights either to get carts in past the 7 o'clock curfew. It hasn't been too bad. I'm sure it'll get ugly with people wanting to stay out or being out late after 7 o'clock. But for the most part, everybody's been really good. We talked about the green. Do y'all have any questions about what's going on?
Yeah, I've got one, and it's not about exactly what you're talking about. What about golf cart congestion right there at the first tee box? Because
Good,
There are people ready to tee off, and there's also people going up, parking
Right.
their carts and going into the pro shop.
That is gonna be alleviated. We're in the process of getting some signs made up that we're gonna basically kind of put in spots to where, it's not so much our guys that play every day or they're here consistently, they know kind of where to go. It's the newer folks.
Yeah.
You know, you get over on 9 and, you know, if you've never played here before, you're on number 9 and you wanna get to the pro shop, you gotta be pretty creative. So what we're gonna do was once we get the signs, implemented in the spots we want them, we're gonna flip the 9s. So number 10 will be the new number 1, number 9 will be the 18th green. And from that ending position, when they're on, or 9 that is now, will be 18, they're right there by the parking lot.
Would you say that again?
The back 9 will be the front 9, and the front 9
Or
will
we're
be.
gonna
Basically
go back
flip-
to when it was originally started?
Well, originally they did switch it for a little while back in the early 90s, and I think that's when they were doing some stuff at the putting green. But the mess is when people come off at 9, they want to come either go to the restroom or get a drink or something to snack on. And what happens is it takes about 5 minutes to get back over
Yes,
here.
it does.
And then another 5 minutes in the shop and then another 5 to get back. So obviously whoever is on their tail has already teed off on 10. We haven't had an absolute mess yet, but it's coming.
Yeah.
So I think by the time we get the signs and everything, it'll be a growing pain for about a week because all the regulars are going to be goofed up. I think when
Yeah.
everybody realized that number
Okay.
1 will be 10, and when they're coming off 18, they just have to make that little trek over there. They're in their cart, they get their food and drink or whatever, and they're right there by the tee. They're not having to make that trek all the way
All
back
right,
over
yeah,
to
that
the.
makes
Yeah.
sense, because when they come off, they can, halfway there, you've got the snack
Sure.
bar and the restrooms, yeah.
But I was talking more about the number of golf carts just sitting there right outside your building, and the number also, not only people that are inside your building, but also sitting there waiting to tee off.
I
Got
see
a
what
lot
you're
of carts
saying.
there.
Right. Well, you also got to think.
And you gotta have people bringing carts in that are they're
Correct.
finished.
Yeah, it's like playing Jenga from about 3 o'clock to 6. But
Yeah.
as long as I do think once we flip those 9s, a lot of that there's still going to be congestion and there's
Yeah.
still going to be carts parked out there. But I think you're not going to have the ones that are stalled out going from 9 to 10. They're going to be able to come in and get back out.
Yeah.
And the people that are coming in for 1, you're still going to have a lot of people there. But I think with the flipping of the 9s, and hell, it may not work. We'll try it, but I think it will work just for the simple fact the convenience when they're on number 1, which will be the 10th hole. They're right there. They're not having to come back and circle back around.
So they'll be coming from if they park their car in the parking lot, then they'll come into the pro shop.
Correct.
And have we done anything with the paths there? I know it's raining and we haven't been able to do it,
It's a mess right
but
now. But
hopefully we'll. But I'm just trying to envision, so they're gonna come, they'll be walking down, we need to get the gravel down because it's a mess there. They're gonna check in at the pro shop, get their golf cart, whatever they want, so that since it's 1, then they should move out. There's enough place near where the tee boxes are that they could hang around there for the
Correct.
groups.
correct.
And that gets them away from you.
Right. And the other good thing, I know this doesn't make a lot of sense to y'all because y'all aren't there for the daily operation, but people going from that are at the range before they tee off. Now,
Right.
by them being down at the range, now they can just kind of scoot over
Yeah,
to 10.
that makes-
You're not having that,
Yeah.
backward traffic coming.
So-
It's still a mess, but it'll help. It'll help a
Yeah,
little bit.
it makes sense to do that with the driving range, and the putting green will be there. That makes a lot of sense. So, do we have to do anything with
Scorecards?
the scorecard slip ring or
No.
whatever?
No, there'll be just a lot of people that fill out number 1 and be number 10. They'll realize, oh shoot, I didn't do that right. So, I mean, I'm not gonna switch the scorecards just.
Oh,
for
no,
that.
not now, but I mean, if it seems to make sense, because once the building is built, you still will have that same issue, that if people go over there to where number 10 is, it becomes number 1, then that really helps with the flow with where the
Now, when the new
facilities-
building's there, there's gonna be restrooms on that, what would that be?
Yes,
That
there'll be
that
restrooms
northwest corner.
by the pro
Right.
shop. Yeah.
So that's when we flip it back to the other side. Now the issue is the restroom. And I got one other thing. Is there a way that we could, have some portable, restrooms that can be, like, come in on a trailer, they stay on a trailer, and then when they need to be cleaned, they can either have somebody service them here or they get pulled away. As far as restrooms, just around the building, it doesn't make any difference where, but, I know that that's typically the issue when people, they'll ask, how was your day? It was great, but y'all just do not have enough toilets. And it happens.
We
What
know
would you
that.
say, at least once or twice a day on the weekends? Yeah. And we'll have a line at the restroom.
Particularly the women's.
Yeah.
Funny about that, isn't it?
But it's just, I think it doesn't need to be tomorrow, but I think before the summertime, because you also got to remember, we've got all the pickleball traffic too going into the restrooms as well. And I think if we had just another men's and a women's, or maybe two ladies porta potties, maybe somewhere over by the tower or whatever, it doesn't make any difference. But
Yeah.
I've told people that I would at least ask, and I told them I'm not positive that can be done, but we'll ask. And I know the last few weeks we've had these tournaments with some elderly folks, and that having them drive all over the property to try to find the restroom, and then go stand in line for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
just food for thought. Like I said, we don't need to have this done tomorrow, but if we could do it before going into summer.
I
that-
do have a question. Right now, that pergola kind of thing, which is sitting next to the tennis courts, and a lot of people use it. If that were moved, would that be a better place if you wanted to? I'm thinking of easy access for them to get into the porta potties.
I checked on those when we were doing some demos,
You're right.
and because it has to be ADA,
Right.
and they were like $2,700 a month.
Oh, geez.
Oh, wow.
Condition.
2,700 a month. We'll go plant some trees.
That's
Yeah, yeah. Well, but you can also, they'll be out there on 15.
Right.
We've got bathrooms out there. Yeah.
Well, let's do this. Let's see how the thing works when we flip the nines. Maybe we don't have to worry about it.
Well, that's right. I
Yeah.
was thinking, if you flip the 9, that may be,
That might be it.
because you've got the ones which will be, so it wouldn't be on 15, it would be on, anyway, it would be on the front 9 somewhere.
Hey, David, is this gonna happen immediately?
What's that?
Flipping the nines?
Not immediately. It would be. What do you think? Next couple weeks.
Maybe you say May 1st or something.
We can do first. Well, we got to get the signs first.
Signs should be here.
Okay,
Once we get the signs up, we'll look at it.
okay.
I'd like to have it done before the next city council meeting. Does that mean, is that something I need to get approved to
No.
make it work?
No.
Okay.
I think it sounds like a good option to try, and then you can see how the flow is,
Sure. I think anything's going to be better.
Yes.
I mean, you're so much windshield time from 9 to over, and then you got to go back, and then you're fighting traffic
Right.
either side. And if nothing else, that at least will put people in different spots where they're closer where they need to go. I don't know why I'm doing so much with my hands, but I think that will. And then if it doesn't work, we'll figure out something else. But
Yeah.
it's
No, it sounds, I tell you that the biggest issue is people don't realize they have to drive up on the berm
Right.
behind 18, and so that's what confuses them. That's where we really make sure they have to have signs, they know it's okay to drive
Right.
up on that.
Will that all be cut out?
Okay,
Those berms will be cut when the car pass will be back there.
okay.
yeah, it'll be like
Oh,
that.
okay,
So-
okay.
Bumpers is kind of dangerous, especially.
Oh yeah. Well, right now you can't even get up there. They're so slick.
But yeah, we're gonna cut that berm out.
Okay, and one more question, David. I know we talked, you weren't here, but Johnny and I were talking to Isaiah about, you need a printer.
Hmm.
Have we looked into that anymore?
I have not.
No, I know, but I was just, knowing, I know you need a printer, and the question is because we can't get things printed out like handicap sheets, and so.
Correct.
We need to.
Yeah, that's just one of many things that I can't print.
Yes, I know, that's one of many things, but,
I can talk about the printer.
Yeah.
Because if we even had a printer, and particularly for tournaments, you could print out, the golf cards that would be to correctly show one, the holes, by making your own golf cards
Right.
particularly for tournaments is what I was thinking of.
Right. Printing up the blank ones. I know you're talking
Yeah,
about,
yeah, the blank ones that we used to do sometimes,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have that program anymore.
Oh.
In the USGA, we had the one that did all the tournament stuff for us, and now it's behind a paywall, and it's pretty expensive to do.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's called Golf Genius, if you want to look it up sometime. It's really cool. And it would be nice to have during tournament season, but, our tournament season is pretty much done in 6 weeks, so.
Okay.
To spend that kind of money to
Yeah.
have us save, 4 or 5 minutes a tournament, that's not that.
Yeah.
I'd rather have the porta potties.
Christine?
I have a question. A week or two ago, saw on the golf course, in the dark, people with balls that had lights in them, getting them. So I called the gate and I asked, is that legal to be out there doing that? He said, oh, I think so, up until midnight. So I wanna know, is it legal, and you
No.
better tell the gate.
No, they should know better than
They
that.
just made that up, sounds like.
They shouldn't be out there.
No,
Well-
no, the thing is, it's pretty harmless, but the thing is, what they don't know is, you hit those irrigation boxes are in places, and we've got stumps that are sitting out there that are like
Yes.
this.
Yeah.
There's all and now with construction, we got, these random holes and other little things, yeah, so. That'd be another thing to maybe put in the newsletter.
Yeah, okay.
Nobody reads.
You'd be surprised how many people had no idea that we had a newsletter. Like, do you have a
Okay,
computer?
well, this is my next question is, then what do we do if they don't look at the newsletter, so they don't know we have ordinances and they don't know that we have a website? What are we gonna do so that they understand the rules for the golf course? For the general public? That's something I think we have to really look at, because they're out there at the wrong times, and we know what they did during the ice storm. They were sledding all over the golf course. And so we've got to come up with a way to, how do we inform people?
It's just a matter of catching them, is really, because they're all gonna be sneaky, and then it's, like I said, it's almost summertime, and it's gonna get, it's the same
I
thing.
know it's gonna get worse in the summertime, yeah.
Well, I have been in contact with Steve, and he has, I guess in the last couple of weeks, if he's at home or what, I'll just text him and say, I've got reports of kids on 5 or 8 or whatever.
Okay.
And he's been also going out there as well.
Okay.
But what I was trying to let Steve know is I don't want him to go like on a scheduled run, because it won't take long for them to figure out what his schedule is.
Oh, yeah, yeah, okay.
And remember, the guy with the broken leg is gonna,
Yeah. The other thing I was thinking of is, we have the plastic sleeves on the golf carts. Could we type up rules so that the people that are in those golf carts understand, for instance, the days that you have to have 90 degrees only, or cart paths, or whatever it is? No one reads the signs.
they don't read the sign on the card either.
Well,
Yeah.
but
It's right there in their face.
But, I
We
mean,
do
there's
have the
gotta
sign.
be some way of not finding them, but, losing privileges if you do, because they're tearing up the golf course.
Oh, I've done that. I've had to suspend a kid last week for a week for playing golf with no shoes and a shirt on.
But I was just thinking of, but if golfers are coming in, and we could just have the basic rules of, that you see in most golf courses.
Right.
The hours of operation, yeah, don't drive up on the, I don't know how many of our people that live out here, they drive up on those, well, not the tee box, they drive up on the greens, and it should be only those that have a handicap sign.
Correct. Too bad they don't have a lazy sign. What?
But,
Yeah, those, all that is posted inside we've got the little blue tags that are sitting in the golf carts. Now, there's some that are missing now over time, but
right.
I would
But,
say
I mean,
a good percentage of them.
Maybe some people would read it, that's all I can hope for,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the main thing is marshals will basically takes care of everything.
Well,
I mean,
because that was my
eyeballs.
thing, is if you have it posted, and then there's a marshal out there, and they're violating the rules, then they tell them that you have to get off the golf course.
One of my favorite things to do, isn't it, Isaiah?
Okay. Okay, we need to move on
Okay.
here, I think. We got, oh, go ahead.
With the golf cart situation, now that Marble Falls is gonna permit golf carts in town, are we gonna be faced with the situation of those that don't belong here come in here?
Well,
It's
it should be, they should be stopped at the gate. It's
Yeah.
really a POA issue.
something to think about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a good point.
That's a
Good point,
great, that's a
Georgine.
good,
Yeah.
good point.
Yeah,
We got enough
we
of
got,
our own.
we got enough of our own.
All right.
Thank
Yeah.
you, guys.
Okay, let's move on then. The consent items, the minutes, and the financial statements. I'm gonna go to the minutes first. Everyone in the council has a copy of the minutes. Any corrections or additions?
I move we accept the minutes.
Okay,
I'll second.
second. All in favor? Okay, 4-0, 3-0 wins. And financial statements. Just give us a very thumbnail summary of the financials, and then we'll go ahead and accept or not accept the
Very good.
financial statements.
Assets versus liability for last month, we ended with $14.59 million overall through all accounts going on. This is also in your packet on page 18. Profit and loss for each
Yeah,
different
each
fund.
uh-huh.
So general fund total was 204 profit, utility was 51, recreation is 51 negative, and the total is 204 overall.
What's driving that operating loss on the recreation?
For recreation, you look at the total pro shop expense, we have other pro shop expenses, which are kind of unforeseen miscellaneous items that have come up.
Yeah.
We can go to, you're talking about the,
I'm just talking about
You-
this table.
for, which page is that? Oh,
That's the,
so, yeah, revenue for the recreation fund, you can see that we have additional revenue from what we've projected, just like we have throughout most of the year. Our expenses are also, up as well, and that's largely being driven by unforeseen, costs for not just course upkeep, but also our new projects, that we have going on right now that have fallen on the recreational department to kind of make sure they get finished. And some of those, related to this project, to the community center project, we had like a couple water pipes that got hit, and so that wasn't the contractor that went out and fixed those, that was our employees who went out and made sure those were taken care of. So that was extra time and material. That's just one example off the top of the head for these kind of unforeseen costs that add up relatively quickly. We've also bought more goods than we anticipated, but we were also selling them at a higher rate than we were
So
anticipating.
that's the operating profit loss line, the negative 79,000 for recreation?
That's correct.
And that's just all the various things that you've talked about?
Yep.
Okay.
okay.
All right, but I'll just give you the overview for the admin. We're still ahead of where we anticipated to be, both in a good way for our revenue, actually not quite there, but we should get the rest of it coming in soon. And then expenses, we're far below. So you can see our profit overall is higher than we were anticipating or projecting. Utility fund, we actually have more cumulative revenue than we were projecting, and we have a lower expense. So really good job, Johnny and Scott, with their department there for utility coming in under budget so far. And then you can see that we are anticipating at this point in the year to be negative $173,000, but we're actually ahead by 51.
Okay.
So that's utility profit and loss. Looking at revenue, we did kind of go over this, but I'll go over it again. We projected a little bit less revenue than we actually have, and projected less expense, so that we have kind of a crazy look where the last 2 months we've been pulling up in, going from negative 32 to negative 38 to finally over the entire year, we're now supposed to be 3,000 above water, 3,674 positive, but in actuality, we're even with non-operating costs, or non-operating revenues, 51,669 approximate dollars in the hole. So that's something we need to pay attention to, because we don't have infinite money in the bank for the recreation department.
that's kind of interesting, the way they diverge like that. The projection was a whole lot higher than what we're showing there is the actual.
Well, and part of this too, when the budget was approved, and we'll have to edit or amend this before the end of the year, we were anticipating having alcohol sales to the tune of about 80 grand in this year.
Yes, we
That's
did.
it, yeah.
And since,
We did.
since we did not end up selling any alcohol, that's 80,000 that we're missing.
I knew that would come and bite us, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, any questions on the financial report?
On the general fund, there's like a line item for insurance.
And it's, yeah, way, way high, so
Yeah.
that, good question. Yeah, that one has been on there, and it needs to get broken out among the other departments. So right now, all of the city's Texas Municipal League insurance cost, which is that 100,000 for different departments, is all in
The general.
the general fund.
General fund.
And I'll make sure to bring that up when we do rectify that and break it out how it's supposed to be.
Okay.
okay.
All right.
Very good. Is there a motion to accept the financials as presented in your packet?
I move we accept the financial report.
A second.
All in favor? It's passed, okay. Now let's move on to the old business. Johnny, you gonna do the community update, community center? You did a little bit of it already, but, okay.
Excuse me. The golf shop and cart barn, like I said, we have some cleanup to do and some painting. So hopefully we'll get finished by the end of the month and get out of there, because we got a lot of other projects to do. Utility work, the golf course irrigation project is finished. It's got some cleanup to do. So that project has been finished. The other sewer line work has been held up by the original stormwater permit that was sent to LCRA did not include the on the sewer line. So we're waiting on that. Just got that process today. So hopefully, within a couple of weeks, we can get started. The contractor's ready to go as soon as we get the permit to do it.
Okay.
The stormwater drainage project is 99.9% finished. We got, LCRA hit us a little bit. We have to do a little bit more work on some exposed dirt where they entered into the pond. We put some riprap, but we may have to haul some more riprap in, because the riprap was not part of their cost.
And what is riprap?
Big rock.
Rocks.
Okay.
It just stabilizes the bank.
Were we gonna get some rocks from that Highway
I
71
don't know, I was gonna
project?
talk to Homer about that, because man, if we could do that,
Yeah, we could
that would
shore up number
help
10
shore up
pond.
that
Yeah.
pond cheap.
Yeah,
I mean, hauling is pretty
Or
expensive.
do you think the rocks at St. Paul's, were they gonna use all of that stuff?
probably. I'd have to ask Ryan. He would know.
I mean, you might ask them.
Yeah,
So,
we'd have to pay for the hauling
Yeah,
and
We can-
loading.
yeah.
yeah, we can haul, we gotta, and Mike could get the county to help us haul if it's a
If we get
lot.
the county to help it load them up, that'd be
Yeah.
good.
So, but again, the stormwater project is at like 99.9, so we
Okay.
just talked about that this morning. It was just some bare ground, wasn't it, Mike?
Yeah.
It had to be something done with. Hopefully, depending on the rain and the grass growth, hopefully we can take down the silk screen shortly on 18.
Okay.
We're gonna talk, I think, I've talked to Zach, talk to the LCRA and see how much further it's got to be, because it's beginning to grass over a little bit. Because they were gonna go back in and scarify it and try to get the grass, but it looks like it's a little here and there. The cart path, we was hoping to get that started this week, but the rain is just,
Yeah,
we're gonna have to let it dry up, because all we got's mud holes everywhere.
Yeah.
yeah.
So as soon as it gets dried up, we'll start on that. But the berms, there's two, I think, we've got to actually cut to make them level. Isn't that right, Jamie?
Oh, he's
He's already gone. But
Yeah.
I think there's two berms we're gonna have to cut and put some rocks, some
Right.
big rocks in to get it level, where the cart paths can, or it's a level surface for the carts to go by. so hopefully we get that done. The building update, we had a meeting this morning. It's going along pretty good until the rain came. Just a second, she didn't want to come
So
in while I was
Lily?
talking. But, you know, basically the base, they're having put between 2 and 4 foot of compacted base in. The 4 foot is actually towards the pro shop, the temporary pro shop, so it's gonna be raised up. That building, the actual, building will be about 6 foot above natural ground. And that's why you see all the sidewalks and stuff, it's in ramps and stuff. But, anyway, I think it's going pretty good, considering the weather, don't you think, Mike? Because Mike and I are kind of teaming on this thing, but.
Yeah, I mean, the demolition's done and site work has begun, and quite a bit of site work has been done.
Yeah.
Completed, and I think they're on schedule.
I think they're pretty close. I think they're doing the best they can with dealing with the weather, because they actually hauled some rock in today where they could haul base in, and start still work on the pad some. The budget update, I gave you a budget update, and there is an error I'll tell you about in just a second. But they pulled their first initial payment was $294,838, and that was for demolition and site work. The way we're doing this is I get the invoice, and I send it to Mike, and he reviews it, then we send it to Will, and he approves it. So we approve it and send it to Will for payment. I guess that's a better way, didn't it?
And we compare the percentage of the draw against the cost loaded schedule, so
Yes.
to speak.
And then what we see on the ground.
Cash presents to us, so.
How many draws have we had so far? Just one?
This is the
Okay.
first one, yes, sir. And that did site work, asbestos abatement, their insurance, some of their some of their overhead that we're responsible for.
Yeah.
On the page 25, there isn't an error, there's actually 2 errors. But the first one, why that $7.5 million went down to $7,475,000. There's a $25,000 in expenses that was not booked by the bond, so it was taken out of the $7.5 million. And then the second one, we're over, and that should have been a positive number, not a negative number. We're over estimated interest earnings by almost $8,000, and that'll continue to grow. And the reasoning behind that mainly is that we're longer in the process than we thought we were going to be. Because, I mean, when we started, we thought we might probably be about a third of the way in the building by now. And but, you know, all the stuff that had to happen.
So we're drawing more interest
Yes,
because
sir,
we're
we're
not
drawing
paying it out?
interest. About,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a pretty good chunk of change.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Cart Barn run over budget, but I've got money from contingencies to cover that. We've got a couple of capital purchases, less than, I'm gonna say $10,000 we've got to do. Ice machine for the pro shop, interior pro shop, and something else, but it's gonna be less than 10. All the other, the architectural fees, we get billed monthly for what they're using, their services they're providing. Same way with the testing and the engineering. Of course, we hadn't spent any money for any of the other line items. The sewer line, the sewer line, but we probably will get a bill this month because he has materials on site, even though we haven't been able to do it. So I told him to bill me for those materials. I don't want him sitting out there because he's got a pretty tight budget. He cut us a pretty good deal. So basically, again, the community center budget, except we paid at $294,838. Total construction to date is $951,000, which means we've got about $7.82 million in the bank for this project. And you can go through and look at all the others. I'm not going to go through in detail. If you have any conditions or questions, ask me.
Okay.
I'll try to provide you, as I mentioned earlier, we're supposed to get a report basically every Friday, isn't that, Mike?
Right.
And so I'll forward an email with that information and give you an update on everything, at least try to every Friday afternoon.
We do a progress meeting every second Thursday, or every.
Second Tuesday,
Every other week.
every other Tuesday, yeah. So, yeah, any questions? If you do, just holler at me later on and I'll try to answer them. If I can't, I'll throw it to Mike and let him. Thank you.
Let's see, today is the 21st, and we got these revenues and expenses through the 23rd.
Oh, crud. It was last Friday.
Just messing with you. Okay, go ahead. Next item is going to be the warnings. Update on that, Will? Anything else to add?
So, on the screen is the proposed warning siren coverage, and those kind of X marks the spots or where two proposed sites would be. There's no indication that I'm sorry, my microphone's off. There's no indication that we are going to receive any additional funds, and we have budgeted for this. It'd be a pretty close shave monetarily. I think if we're able to get some of the bells and whistles out that we maybe don't need, it'll come into maybe 55. What is it, Johnny?
I said I got that.
Oh,
sheet.
oh, that's right. That's right.
Kind of give you an idea.
That's right. Thank you.
So actually, there are two proposed sirens located. One is the wastewater treatment plant, and we moved, the other one was behind where Carolyn used to live. They had originally on numbers, what were number? Six.
Number 6, yeah.
But we had them move it to the garden park or garden area.
Down on Mahan?
Mahan, yes, sir.
Okay,
We had him
yeah.
move there, and we'll probably, their original poles were supposed to be 30 feet. We'll probably go 40, because I don't want these things blasting right into someone's house. They're 3,200 watts that goes out, which is pretty loud. The two locations, the blue gives us 100%, and the orange striping outline basically is what I think we've got 90% coverage, and I think that's 80% coverage if I recall the specs right. And
that's for people outside, right?
yes, those are outside the city limits, those being Marble Falls, a lot of them being Marble Falls. We have some issues that we still have to work out, of basically who's going to dispatch it. We have to talk to Marble Falls and burn it. But I gave you a schedule based on the estimate from ATI, which is the provider. Garrett has worked with it, and Bob and Bruce has worked with it a bunch too, so we've kind of kicked it around. I think we can save some money. There's some things in here we may not need, but this is the budget. In addition to their cost, which is $59,689, for two sirens, a communication system. You know, in reality, the sirens are not too terribly bad, about $15,000 a piece. So they're not too terribly bad. It's all the other stuff that we have to do to get it, the hardware, the software, to do the communications and everything. They'll send a technician down to actually put it in service. So that's all in that $59,688. I'm thinking we can probably trim $5,000 or $6,000 off of that, maybe more, because they've got some stuff thrown in there that we probably really don't need. I don't think, but we can talk to them. I kind of think we may get on a conference call and our team meeting and go over all the deal. But estimated cost, we in addition to that is about, I'm gonna guess $10,000. I think that's high, but I'd rather take a high number than a low number, because that's acquiring putting the foundation in and actually purchasing the poles. And the county, I think, is going to assist us with their bucket truck to do the actual install of the speakers, because there's actually, there's 8 pretty good sized speakers that's mounted at the top, and all the communication stuff is mounted down low.
Is it hinged or something, in case you need to repair the speakers, replace it? So you just,
They're just they're in like a clamp that goes around the pole. They're all mounted on that. And so
how would you get up there to work on it?
bucket truck.
Oh, it'll go up 40 feet? Okay,
Yeah,
so-
ours won't, but the county's does.
Okay,
And I've talked to them, and I think I think they'll help us.
okay.
Do you remember how often they said that these would require to be serviced? Is there,
I don't think there's a whole lot of
Compliance.
service. I know, he talked about the testing, because FEMA requires it to be tested monthly,
yeah,
but the testing they've got is ultrasonic, so you can't hear it. But it just does test the whole system, and it gives you a report, that says it's been tested. So you don't have to hear the siren
Yeah.
being tested every month, so they do it ultrasonic. This is completely electronic. Everything is electronic, there's no, you're probably used to the old mechanical, but we can, if I remember right, they can program it to sound just like the old mechanical sirens.
Mhm.
There was a whole bunch of different types of siren sounds that we could produce. I don't know how Garrett wants to proceed with this, because I think this is about $10,000 over your budget.
That's
but
what I was
we-
gonna say, yeah.
But I think we might can get it back down, pretty
Yeah.
close to your budget, 60,000, I think.
Is it 60 or 65? 60?
60.
Okay.
So this system is solar powered?
Oh,
Is it stored, it
it's got
works off
batteries,
the solar panels
it's got, solar panels,
with a battery
yes, sir.
collection station?
Yes, sir.
that power?
And then, it also has, we'll have at the sewer plant, it'll have power, from the sewer plant, because it takes both, solar and,
yeah, I think it has both for
It has both.
redundancy, yeah.
the one in the the garden park will have to be solar for a time being. There are some plans, maybe the next budget year, we got to add on to a chemical room down there, that just doesn't have power. And once we get power to that building, then we can power that one, is also, because it's not gonna be very far away, maybe next door. But I think we can get in the budget, but, I mean, I'd hate to say we can and with your $60,000 budget and not come up with it, so, I don't know. I mean, that's the report.
Okay.
And this is all purchased, it's one of the cooperative purchasing groups, so we don't have to bid it, it's already pre-bid. It's a FEMA-approved project. Is that right? That's
Yeah,
what I
that's
understood. The pricing is approved by FEMA, and when I talked to him the last month, cost has not increased since we started talking about this in, September?
Probably, yeah.
So the prices hadn't increased any.
Now, this system would be a warning system for any emergency?
Yeah, flood or tornado mainly.
And then one of the things they've got in there that we may talk about is it also has capability of voice communications, so you can actually do a voice over it if you wanted to. That was one part of the package that I think we were talking about taking out, because it's pretty expensive. You remember, what, $3,500 plus, I think?
Yeah, it's 25.
25.
Yeah.
Plus, we have to have internet at both sides to do that. And but there's a lot of little things in there that I think we need to talk to the supplier, that I think we can get pretty close back to your budget, your original budget.
I have a question. Would this also be used for lightning warning, like on the golf course?
No,
No. Okay,
we're going to use an alternative to that,
okay.
because if you did that, you'd be alerting everyone on
In their
Within
homes or
10
whatever.
blocks.
Yeah, that's
So-
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're working on that.
Okay.
I hadn't got that all worked out yet, because it's gonna take a little bit of radios to get the warning to all places, but,
Would we have to test them every month, like blast them out
no, that's all
at
done.
noon on the second Thursday?
That's all done ultrasonic, so you can't hear it.
Okay.
So it does test makes sure the system's working, but it's at an audible,
Just the dogs hear it?
dogs and cats. I mean, for a couple of minutes, they may be barking and raising Cain, but,
Yeah.
and I don't know what frequency, he didn't really say, he just
No.
said you can't hear it. It's just the
Yeah.
human hearing couldn't hear it, but it
Yeah.
does satisfy FEMA's testing
Okay.
requirements.
So there's a monthly service fee that goes along with this?
No, sir, not that we know of yet. We
Not that
hadn't
we
talked
know of.
about it.
And
The only monthly would be the internet. If we put that one system in, that one system. we
But
got to
just
have
for the
it.
regular sirens, you don't have to have the internet, right?
No, sir. So they're all done by radio.
Radio, yeah.
Right. And that was some things that we have to work out, and that may, the savings we may have in cutting some stuff may get eat up but in the communications end of it, because they're using, and I don't want to get too technical, but they're using the analog system, which is just like, but this, both the county and the city uses digital now. So those radios are about twice or a little more than, and, but they are an analog system, so we just need to do some communicating with both agencies to see who will take it. Because there is actually a computer that has all the data that shows everything. I think it shows the weather and everything on it. And so there is a computer that operates the whole thing.
And that would be where?
That would be at whoever's going to be dispatching it.
And they would be the ones doing the monthly testing as well?
I would assume so.
You think so?
I don't know. We'd have to ask them.
Yeah.
I don't know if it does it automatically or not, but we'd have to assume so. The good thing is I kind of just kicked it around a little bit, and, you know, we've got all the hardware, the software, we're purchasing all that. So if, say, Marble Falls one starts adding, we can add, it's unlimited, I guess, from what I understand. So we could add, they could add a siren for like $15,000. And so we've covered all the initial startup. And I'm assuming we'll have to maintain it. I'm not sure we'll have to maintain it. So there will be something, but the first year is warranty. So
And what's the time frame on the installation, the order and installation and all of that?
what'd they say, less than 3 months for all delivery of the materials?
For all of that stuff, well, I thought that 3 months was the total time frame
Yeah.
with
The hookup.
getting him up,
Right, and the delay would be us in getting the towers. So, but I think Will and I, if we can catch it right and y'all approve it, we might can get the guys that's doing the coring, drilling for the sites, to go down and drill us 2 holes. Save us, because we can only dig a 3-foot hole about 3 foot deep, and I have not got the wind loading on it yet to see what the actual, what we need.
Yeah.
But what I'm looking at is new street light poles, 40-foot street light poles, galvanized. They look pretty decent. I don't want to put a wooden pole down there, so it'd be on a concrete base and
If
everything.
it's metal, then it would be on concrete.
Yeah, we put it on concrete base, raised it up. But that's kind of the game plan. I've looked at those. They're used ones are about $1,800 a piece. So just depends
So
on
we would
concrete.
be responsible then for the purchase and installation of the poles themselves?
Yeah, we
and
do
get-
that in-house. That
We
would be
do all
done
of that
in-house.
in-house, and then, so the 59,000 or so plus is just their equipment?
Their equipment. And I think we looked at several items, Will and I, that we may cut out.
Yeah.
And then after talking to them, we may want to leave it in, it just depends. But the biggest thing, I guess, is we need to communicate with the 2 dispatch services to see before we actually place it, because that makes a difference in the cost of the whole system.
So this is a warning system, but does it connect to any other entity, as far as
The National
emergency
Weather Service.
services?
I
The
think that
county
can be a
is-
remote, sorry to interrupt, I
Yeah.
think it can automatically get triggered too if there's a warning in your area. I could be
Yeah.
wrong about
Yeah,
that.
the
I think
national,
so,
there's
yeah.
the Pentagons and all that stuff that you see on TV when they do because it
Tornado.
will automatically alert from them. And then it also has capability of alerting from an individual. Because there may be something else going on that the weather service, chemical spills or anything like that where you need to evacuate. And then, of course, the river, that's one thing, is the flooding on the river may not be in those Pentagons that the weather service puts out. So,
That's something we need to clear up. I mean, I
Yeah.
think one of the main reasons we looked at this was after the flood last year, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Because the blue circle covers the river, the lake
yeah,
there, right?
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That's just the sound, like, distance, right?
Yes, I think that's, if I remember that, that's 90% maybe? I can't read it. But there's a 90% and an 80% coverage, or 80 and 70. But I think the blue is 90, and then the orange is 80.
I would zoom in, but I just have a mouse.
Yeah, I can't remember. It's one or the other, but there is 10 decibel differences in alerting. So, yeah,
I guess we could also check with whoever's the dispatcher, if they could be, I guess LCRA, they send out emergency alerts if the dam is, if they're letting out?
Yeah, that usually comes through, that probably most likely would come from the National Weather Service too, if there's something like that.
A severe flood,
Yeah.
or flood warning.
So there's a lot of things we need to do, but I don't know, I kind of thought, well, maybe we need to get the wheel going, because we're in that season right now.
Right.
Yep.
Well, that's what I was
And then,
wondering is, what action do you want to see taken tonight? I mean, we could take action because it's on the agenda, but we don't have a defined price, and it's outside of the budget, so.
Yeah, I would request 70,000, and I think we can come under that, but I don't want to go 65,000 and it comes in at 78,000, I got to come back, 68,000, I got to come back and ask for $3,000 more. I think we're safe with these numbers, but it's y'all's call. If you want to get the wheel rolling, like I said, we've got some background work we need to do before we can actually push the button purchase. But I think we probably get that done in a couple of weeks.
So would we do, like we've done before, is to give the authorization to the mayor, as far as if we do a motion to approve the system up to 70,000, or and to give the mayor the authorization to sign it?
Yes, 'cause
Is it the
we'll have
mayor, or should we give it to the city manager?
Either
It's
one.
whoever you do by the
Doesn't
motion.
matter.
I'm here a little more, but either
Yeah.
one works.
Okay, that's what I was wondering I wanted to make sure we get it covered, so if we do it tonight, then whenever you get extra information that we can then go ahead with it, we don't have to wait till the next
Yeah,
meeting.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I was,
Yeah,
That's kind of what I was thinking too.
authorize up
I
to
mean, I feel like if
$70,000.
we're gonna do it, the sooner the better, right? Because this is mainly
and
for,
I think we ought to give the authorization then to the city manager, because he's always here,
Yeah, I
and then that
agree.
makes it easy
Yeah.
to do.
So, because Bruce and Garrett and I will be in the loop, because we're the committee on it, so we'll make a recommendation, but we'll all get together, because Will's always been on every committee meeting we
Yeah.
have, but,
Right.
so.
well then, and, I know Johnny and I both explored getting grants through the state and through FEMA, and
Yeah,
there's just not anything that they're offering right now. What they are offering, the county got, I know that Johnny talked with a judge, and it's only for the places that had like
The flood.
significant flooding in
Here
the
in the
most
last
recent
event.
flood.
and they've got an RFP out now for an engineer to design their system.
Yeah.
And I've talked to him about our system, and these guys offer to me, and I told him, gave him the judge's contact to do the propagation free for the entire county, so, I guess they took him up on that. So, but, they're doing it for selling their equipment, but I don't think the county can put them in for $15,000. So we'll say $20,000 with poles and everything, a piece, just for the siren.
But they probably aren't ready to do it, so.
No,
Yeah,
I think
so-
they're in the early stages, but they've got $1 million from the state to put them in. So, but evidently.
But it's a big county
Yeah,
Yeah.
geographically, so,
anyway,
Yep.
Yeah.
And before you make any motions, one other thing, because I want to make sure we do this proper order for comments and everything. We'll also have to put an ordinance in place once we find out whether or not we'll have collaboration with the county or Marble Falls. Ordinance for when it's activated and who activates it. And I can get some examples of those, because if you go just based on if there's a warning in your county, well, we're at the southern end of our county, kind of. So if you, or,
Yeah.
it could be right next door and not getting an alert because it's not in your county. So that's something we wanna look at, maybe, tornado warning within 20 miles or 50 miles of the geographical setting, not just the county. And then same thing for floods, if it's,
They go drive people crazy too.
it might,
Well,
we,
there's,
Yeah.
we don't wanna get burnout or, people just ignoring it, but we also want it to go off when it needs to.
I think that's something that we can, explore with these guys, because they have a lot of recommendations as far as,
They were very accommodating on a lot of stuff.
yeah.
I think the worst thing you can do is have it go off too many times and there's no consequence from it, and that just makes people ignore it.
Yeah.
Just like these
The
cars
phones.
that when they start beeping, people assume, well, that's just a flaw, not someone's breaking into the darn car.
Yeah.
All right.
So.
Okay, so do we need a motion then? Someone want to move to approve Will to sign the agreement to proceed? With the caveat that we still need to have enabling legislation or enabling ordinance to work out the details.
But we
Well,
don't have
this
to have that
first
done
part is
first.
just for purchasing it,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I think that's all we're really,
We just got a lot of backdoor stuff we need
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
to make it all work,
right.
and mainly dispatch.
But it's mainly the authorization to purchase, to go ahead with the project.
Okay. So I mean, I can make a motion to,
Okay.
authorize up to $70,000 to purchase the storm warning system through ATI Systems. And that the city manager will, has the authority to sign off on that.
I second.
All in favor? Okay. Make sure you clean up that wording.
What I would suggest is that maybe we have a public hearing, public meeting, just to discuss just this.
Yeah.
because, I mean, when you start putting 3,200 watts into
Yeah.
someone's
Yeah,
house, it's gonna be pretty close.
it's gonna be loud,
We need to let them
Absolutely.
know what-
very loud.
I think that before we ever sound it off, I think we need to have that meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You put it in there.
Yeah.
absolutely. Okay, moving on. Item D, or C actually, is authorization for the mayor to sign interior design agreement for Meadow Lakes Community Center. Will?
Yeah, so city staff and elected officials have met with 3 different interior designers. And talking with our contractors today, there was one that they thought would be a better fit than the others. I don't yet have a finalized contract from that interior designer, but that was Nikki Steele, who some of us met with. None of them were bad interior designers by any means, but our contractors, and thus I feel that it would be best fit for her. But like I said earlier, we don't yet have that finalized agreement with her, and we need to get moving. So her price is 0.5% on the total project cost for everything that she's involved in. So the total price for her would be approximately $22,300 to do the interior designs. There's no single supplier provision from her, which was also a point of concern for our contractors, the construction manager rather, that they'd be handcuffed, as a member of the public pointed out earlier, that they would have to get from her, or we'd be assessed a fee, which right now, we haven't had any clarification for what that fee would be that's from a separate
So
interior
we
designer.
also have to understand legally if we can even do something as far as purchasing, that Kimmy Zavala had, whether we can
Yeah.
even do that as an operation. So I think we probably should table this until we get all the actual numbers, because we really don't even have numbers for, even Nikki Skills, which is a 0.5%. How did that number come about? I mean, 0.5% of what? The 300,000 or?
It was 470-some thousand. Did you have a comment, Johnny?
Yeah, that's based on, her fee's based on, I think, $4.7 million.
Sorry, 4.7 million, yeah.
Dollars for the building. The pool's not included, site work, all the overhead, it's just for the building.
Just the building?
Yeah, the problem with waiting is technically, this is a professional and it's gonna be paid out of the, FT, FIT, or FT, whatever, furniture, fixtures, part of.
FF&E,
Sorry?
FF&E?
FF&E.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be paid out of that, and Ryan thought that he probably would have at least $10,000 that could be
He said
assigned
it's
to that. So
possible.
at the end of the project, we could put what we need back into that. But, since it's under $25,000, we'll, should be able to sign it without any authorization, just as long as y'all agree. I think the committee needs to make a recommendation when you get back together. The timeframe, the problem is, this interior decorator, is leaving for 2 months to go get him.
Oh.
So we have to get, and they emphasized this morning that it might, that we need to really get the exterior of the building picked. That's all.
Yeah, I think she said if she could get that picked before she leaves, she can do everything from there, here.
Yeah, because really, she'll be back before they, well, just about the time we start doing
Yeah.
the structural. So she'll be back before anything will be done inside the building.
In our meeting this morning, Nash Builders gave us a schedule, so to speak, of what they would require in order for them to keep moving and stay on their
Right.
schedule. And the exterior finishes, which would be the stone facade, as well as the stucco and the color, he would like to have those by 1st of May. And here we are, the 21st of April.
Why did he wait so long to tell us that? We've been asking for a schedule. I don't understand that.
Well, we've been getting a schedule.
I know, but he's never, no one's ever said we need the stone and the stucco colors
Yeah.
picked out.
We have time to do it. It's just that we need to have the ability to get this interior decorating, or when I say interior this decorating professional on board, which means we have to get this proposal from the second or third company. So, once we have that, if it meets the requirements, it allows Will to go ahead and put her under contract, whichever one of the three it may be.
Okay.
So that we can start. We already have a basic idea of what we want.
Right.
So-
But my concern is we don't have actual proposals from them with numbers. So we're just saying that, right? I mean,
Well, it's a professional service, so you don't even have to have proposals.
okay.
You just
We-
use professional, because it technically is to be a professional. And it falls under $25,000, but we did the whole engineering, testing, we'll be doing ATS. Some of these contracts just are falling under the $25,000 mark, which allows Will to execute those contracts. Because it's part of the project, this is not identified now, the rest of the stuff that we've already signed contracts for has actually been identified in the budget. Of course, this is not in the budget.
I know, it's not in the budget, and that's,
Yeah. I would like to add one thing. I talked to Ryan too, actually today. And he said that basically, if he has the ability to poll different suppliers for things, he thinks he can do as good as someone that says you gotta buy from me. And the second thing is, he said that he thinks he can do a good enough job of doing that he will save us money, and that recycles back to, the savings accrue to us, not to him.
Yes.
So I think if he can make us $22,000 worth of savings, which he thinks he can, he said he'd be even willing to dig into his contingency for it, because he feels so strongly about getting someone like this instead of someone has a vested interest in cutting corners and getting the cheapest price. So I personally, I endorse his idea. And I think that Nash wholeheartedly wants to see someone like this help him out instead of just a supplier.
Someone just says they're an interior designer, and this lady actually has degrees.
She has degrees, yeah.
I'm familiar with her work, because she's worked here for even years and stuff. And this is just strictly from the meetings we've had, is giving each of the three designers the same opportunity. And that's what I feel that we needed to, if we're changing course and want somebody that has a design fee, I think we have to look at all of them.
We're not changing course. The first lady that came, spoke at our
Okay.
meeting, she was the same as this Nikki Steele.
Yeah, but I know that the first one.
And she gave us a proposal.
The first one that came, the proposal was much bigger than what we needed, because she had
Exactly.
locker rooms and all kinds of stuff, whatever. But,
Well, what do you think, Will? I think we'll just proceed, because I think we know what we want. And we definitely know what Nash wants.
So, like it's been said, it doesn't need any council action to authorize signing an agreement for professional services under 25 grand. Obviously, before I sign anything, I'll let you know and get a look at it. I'll want apples to apples comparisons from at least all three of these individuals. Time's of the essence, so I'll reach out to them tomorrow and see if I can't get them.
Okay.
Give it maybe till the end of the week,
Yeah.
and if they can't get it to us, then that's too bad. But I'll shoot it to you all so you can see.
The vendors will only give you apple-to-apple proposals based upon the scope of work that you present to them.
Yeah.
So you would have to give them the same scope of work
yes.
from which they could provide a proposal.
Yes, sir.
Now, the initial, Kimmy, was her name?
Yeah, Kimmy
Her deal was,
Zabal.
I don't care what the scope of work is, this is what I'm gonna do it for free. No fee, not free, no fee. And we will use their companies to purchase the materials from. And they want to know what the budget numbers are. But that's kind of a red flag right there. You don't wanna give your budget numbers to a vendor, because
Yeah.
they'll make sure they stay $5 below the budget, and they'll say, okay, I'm under budget. But the other two, we need to give them a scope of work, and then let them bid according to what we expect of them. So,
Yes.
that's the only way you're gonna get apples to apples.
Yeah, I'll send them the same request for scope of work proposals, or for scope, yeah.
And so then we're gonna hope that we can cover the design fee within our current budget.
We
The
don't have a
way-
budget.
We have, not commitments, but we have, been told that it's possible if that
Okay.
design.
But then that also means we're gonna have to have a separate one for the pool and all the buildings and all of that.
The buildings is included, the pool buildings is included in this, just not the pool.
Okay, so the buildings that support the pool is all included, just not the pool? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I think the other one is open-ended too, because if there's
Yes.
like $450,000 and you save 10%, let's say, that's 45,000 that you save. Well, if she gets 22,500, we pay her 22,500. But if she says, well, I saved you 20%, oh, well, now then we're paying her $45,000. So it's kind of gets open-ended the more she claims that she saves us.
Once they get bids, she gets bids and she shows it to you.
Right, but
Well, I just think.
I
they
mean,
just-
if it's based on savings, it's
No,
totally
But
open-ended.
you're only paying as much as you're willing to pay because she's getting a commission, so you have more control over that.
But, anyway, but I just think that if it's gonna be, we decided we definitely are gonna go with a design fee structure. That the three of them, give us your best fee
Yeah.
structure. That's all.
One of them already did that. I think the first one already did that.
Except that when you looked at her scope of work, it's beyond what we
Oh.
even have.
Oh, yeah.
That's my point.
Yeah.
She wasn't using the same scope of work
Yeah,
that we're,
that's true.
because she had all kinds of stuff in there that, like, we don't have locker rooms, we don't have all this furniture and,
She just gave a present, you're talking about the lady that's,
the
Yeah.
first one, yeah.
she just gave a presentation, she didn't provide.
No,
had-
she did.
had a
I
number.
saw a scope, yeah.
She had a
There was
number.
yeah, there was
She
a
had a
scope of work,
28.5.
yeah.
Okay, I've not seen.
Yeah, it was, and it was way beyond, because I thought, no one told her this is what our building looks like. That was, and so
Yeah.
hers was beyond what I think maybe she didn't realize that we didn't need all those different services.
And then talking to the Nash, the builder, well, she does hers, by email, basically, but he said she really got everything in. Now, Nikki is more one-on-one. You know what you got, Mike? Yeah, correct me if I'm saying something wrong, but
Yeah.
will. But she's more one-on-one. She's there, you talk to her, she makes the decisions and stuff. She said and I assume he liked her a lot better because she was more available. But the 2 months is kind
She's gonna be
of
gone.
Well,
little hindrance.
my only problem is if we have to give them that information by May the 1st, that's less than 2 weeks. And we haven't seen any samples of anything. You know, I took a lot of photos of what I
Yeah,
think, but-
that's different. I mean, that's a different issue. We're talking
Yeah.
about the design.
Okay.
Regardless of who the designer is,
Right.
2 weeks is an issue. Yeah, I
Right.
agree.
And either we do it under professional fees, which would be, and you might say, my suggestion is you make a motion to include designer fees within the budget, or something like that. Not definitely, it's not specific, but I don't know if you can do that with the action item.
we can't do it with this action item. It just says to sign an interior design agreement, and we don't have one.
You don't have one.
No.
But you could, you still could authorize the mayor to sign it.
Still, yeah, exactly. You could still authorize, regardless of what's in.
Which one it is.
We do this a lot. We've done this before a number of times. Is someone wants, we're gonna get a contract with somebody,
Okay.
just to authorize mayor, the city manager to
So
sign it.
if we say in general with the interior designer, and then I would suggest we get that very slimmed down scope of work immediately to all three and say, this is it. And then,
Will that be an issue to get the scope of work, put it on a piece of paper?
I feel like that would be fair to all three of them, you know, because the
Yeah.
first lady, like I said, was the first one that Nash brought to us and that they worked with, but she had the wrong scope of work.
Yeah. What's that?
All right.
Baseball game? Okay. All right, well, let's do, I guess, if what you're saying is correct, we don't even really need to take action because you already have the authority. Or
Yes.
already have the authority. So let's just move on then. I think we'll make it on an objective basis. Let's just say that. Whatever we do, we'll make it on an objective basis and not just make it on who's a favorite or who talks prettiest and stuff like that. Okay, now item D is discussion or action on the 4th of July. Let's keep this, let's keep it brief on the 4th of July because I want to get through it and
Okay.
understand what's going on. I think Will's on there, but were you
I'll
going
yield
to
it to
talk about it,
Okay.
Carolyn? Okay.
The main thing is the same thing as what, we've been meeting, but one of the critical things we need, and that's what we need to find out, is traffic control. Because the way the parade is gonna come down Meadow Lakes Drive and then turns at Firestone, we have to have that intersection blocked so that people that'll either have to, coming into Meadow Lakes will have to turn on Broadmoor, or if they're coming out, they'll have to go around. Now, it's only gonna be probably for an hour, we're guessing, but we do need some way of doing that, whether we hire a off-duty, if Officer Chaffee can be hired, but we felt like that we've got to have something to control that traffic so that all of the parade can get in there.
Just put up barricades?
And put up arcades, we can.
Or if you think arcades are fine to, I mean, you know, cones or,
We can
Not
put
cones.
cones and, we can put cones and put ones, on the guys.
And
Yeah.
I checked with Deputy Chofi, he's working for the county that day.
Huh?
I checked with Deputy Chofi,
Uh-huh.
he's working for the county that day.
That day?
So he
Okay.
won't be available. He
Okay.
gave you some
All
other
right.
contacts to reach
so
out to.
if you feel like we can do something unmanned, that's fine, but we just need to make sure that that is safely.
Mainly any difference than we did the memorial for the park when we closed that Lex Drive down.
Well, I think the difference is it's right at the gate, and that's
Yeah.
where the issue is. It's just so close to the gate coming in.
But I think we can do it with public parks. I mean,
Okay. And then we also would like people to consider, we may need some volunteers to help with shuttling people, because we may have to have people either park here, or we were going to ask about the parking lot, you know, where
Tankers.
Tankers and Ryan Construction is, I mean, not Ryan, my head.
Outside the
It-
gate.
Outside the gate, if we could, people with cars could park there, but then we would need golf carts to shuttle them to the driving range. And so we'd have to look for, we would like to look for volunteers and maybe start putting that in the newsletter, which no one reads, I guess, but,
Well,
word
we're
of
learning
mouth,
something new
anybody
out
you
there
know,
tonight.
anybody you know, but that's the main thing. Everything else, we've talked about what we're gonna be having, and you're aware of that, and there will be banners up inside that we're getting those done, and I guess you were gonna get T-shirts
Yeah.
done, and then we'll sell the T-shirts ahead of time, take orders for
Yeah.
them, for that day, so, but all the other kinds of things are settled. I have one of the mothers that has 2 kids, she's doing all the games, coordinating all of that.
You have a layout?
Well, the layout we can't do to June the 1st, because that day they always close the golf course on the first Monday, and so we have to wait, is what they had told us. So for some reason Kathy thought she had it set up for us June the 1st to go out and lay out on the driving range wherever where they're gonna park. And then we've already discussed kind of the layout on the upper part of the driving range where we'll have all the activities and the stage and stuff. But, so that's what we were gonna do. But then we'll have to figure out where we put the porta potties. They'll be up on the top part of the driving range. And then
Okay.
everything that requires electricity, we're gonna put in that corner where you have electricity and water. So, but it's all going, you know, the planning committee we've got everything in the works, we've ordered a lot of stuff, and so I think that's going well. It's just really getting volunteers to
Yeah.
kind of help with moving people.
And if costs should arise, is the city willing to help split them with the POA?
Yes, and what the POA is, since they're going to be funding the whole thing, and then at the end, we'll get a bill and we will split. So we've never done that, so that's the action item on here, is authorizing the city to split the cost. It's a partnership between Meadow Lakes POA and the city of Meadow Lakes.
Yeah.
And that they will split the cost for the July 4th, 250th anniversary celebration.
Yeah, we need to make sure we have an agreement on that so that we can stay arm's length from POA, but other than that, I agree, we should do that.
Okay, so I would like, make a motion, I move that the, City of Meadow Lakes partner with the Meadow Lakes POA on the 4th of July, celebration, to split the costs.
I'll second
Okay.
it.
All in favor? Passes, okay, unanimously again. Final item on old business is tennis court lease.
There's no action needed. The tennis court lease is not being sought to be renewed by Lance Coward, who was the firm the former person with, whose name was on the paper, I guess, with the city. So, he said he didn't want to renew it, and that it's his notice that he's not going to, which needs to happen in order to break the lease. So, we don't currently have a lease on the tennis court, with him anymore. So he offered to sell us the equipment, like the nets that are out there that are technically his own property. I need to do a price comparison and see if we can get other comparable used nets. He provided them for public use as part of his agreement with us. Yeah, so we'll look and see if there's any other people that'd like to lease the space out, but it's still available for use with the public, and he hasn't let us know if he's gonna, just show up and take the nets off. I don't believe so, but they are his, so we gotta figure out how to equip
Yeah.
that.
Just go ahead and see what it costs, compare the two.
Yep.
If they're his, we don't have the right to confiscate them.
That's right.
Okay.
One thing before we adjourn, I'd like to give an update on the Lakeside Park erosion status. Says no update, but there is. A contractor has been selected. This is to repair the flood damage from the July 4th floods from last year. Contractor's been selected. He was supposed to start work on Monday, but because of the weather, he hasn't. So we'll see, once it dries out sufficiently where he can get equipment down to the retaining wall and start excavating where he can start backfilling, starting the process of making the repairs and hopefully where it doesn't happen again. So that's the update. We do have a contractor. He was supposed to start work on Monday, but the weather has prohibited that.
Okay.
To make repairs for the, on the
You know that,
retaining wall.
I don't think that sidewalk there drains precisely to the lake. It looks like it comes backwards toward the land instead of toward the lake, because there's a bunch of puddles that build up on that sidewalk.
You talking about at the retaining wall?
Yeah,
In front of the retaining wall?
Yeah.
Yeah, the sidewalk that goes the length of the park.
Yeah, it's not sloped
I don't think it
properly.
slopes to the lake.
Okay, well, there's some.
There's
easy
nothing you can
fix
do
for
about it
that.
now, because other than just
There's
build
an
it
easy
up
fix for
again.
that. We just drill holes through the.
Or you do that,
thing,
yeah,
and it can
just drill
drain
holes.
back into the
Yeah.
lake.
Okay. We got to discuss new business, next city council meeting, because we'd have a new guy that runs the place.
So
And
our usual schedule would have us meeting on the third Tuesday of the month. However, we talked separately with council members about moving that up to the 12th at 6 p.m. However, that's also the day of a POA meeting. So if it works for the city council, could we meet earlier than that on the 12th? Like 4 o'clock?
Is that meeting, do you think there's gonna be a lot of items, like, is it gonna run as long as this one? you think?
I don't think so, no. We'll have some swearing-ins
Yeah.
to do, and right now I don't, off the top of my head, I can't think of anything that would,
Can we move it's not a regular meeting then, can we move the date?
we can make it.
So, but normally, so we're not calling it a special meeting?
No, it's going to be our regular, we're just going to move the meet,
We're
just like we do in
moving the meeting
November.
date. Well, that's what I didn't know, was whether or not by moving the date makes it not a regular meeting.
No, because we've done that in November, December before.
Oh, that's right.
Thanksgiving,
Yeah, you're
yeah.
right. Okay.
Okay. To move the meeting?
Yeah, because the special meeting requires the quorum requirements.
Right.
of a regular meeting. And technically, if you're moving from your, I'm talking out of turn, correct me, Will, if you're taking it from your normal meeting date, which you've established, to another date, it technically is a special meeting.
That's what I thought.
Oh, I
was-
see what you're saying.
But then you have to have, it means we've got to have Bruce and Barb off, because I know you're not gonna be here.
Yeah, because his term, yeah, he'll
So we've got to make sure that we've got 4 of us here in order to be able to call it.
Well, Bruce could have come tonight, he said, but
Right.
if we had a quorum, he didn't want to because he's
Right.
still recovering.
Right.
Are you talking about
To move the meeting, right?
Right.
To the 12th is technically a special meeting.
It's a
but
special
not the
meeting.
regular meeting date.
And it's a super quorum then, you have to have.
But you, and you might check that, may not have to have a super quorum, but I think you have to.
Well, special meetings you do,
You're supposed to.
but the other thing is a special meeting, we may need to look at the reasons you can call a special meeting. That's the other issue.
You can call it for any purpose.
For anything?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it's been a while since okay.
But we've moved Christmas meetings, you know, back before, but I guess we had everyone approve it, but we don't have that tonight. That's the issue.
Yeah,
Okay, well, let's,
well,
I'm looking at this.
well, the other thing is that, as after the May 2nd election, you can be sworn in at any time.
yeah.
And, I mean, any of us that had to be reelected. But you can't be sworn in unless he resigns.
Yeah.
So that's where well, I know, it's not that I want you to resign, but, But-
No one reads the
it's
newsletter
opposite.
anyway, so,
huh?
It's the opposite.
Well,
I
you
to
have, you
resign.
have to resign from the city council, but for you to be sworn in, he would also have to leave so that there's an opening in the because otherwise you can't have two mayors.
Yeah, but his term expires.
But his term doesn't expire until the next regular meeting.
When is that?
the
Well,
19th.
It
The
would be
19th is when it's scheduled, I mean, the regular schedule.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's when you're,
so
that's
that's
when you're
why
out of town.
we have to kind of look at a few of those, we need to get those things, don't you think, isn't that?
It expires as soon as he takes the oath too, I
Yeah,
believe.
I guess
Yeah.
his,
Yeah, as soon as he takes the oath of office, that's what, I think
Then
what
his
we're talking
expi-
about is the transition has always been at a council meeting.
Right.
Technically, you probably could do it without having a council meeting, but the transition has always been the
Right.
current area.
Yeah, that's,
but you can do it outside of a council meeting,
You could technically, I think,
yeah.
but,
Because I've been sworn in outside of council meetings, yeah.
but I think when Mark was talking, we were talking, the transition is more, you know,
Yeah,
ceremonial, I guess you would
right,
say.
okay.
yeah.
You know, the one mayor's turning the oath. to the
So,
mayor.
we're gonna set it for the 12th at 4 unless we find that becomes a special meeting and we can't do it, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
That works. I believe in our code, this is something we should probably update. Technically, according to city code, the second Tuesday of the month at 5 PM is when city council meetings take place.
Really?
Really?
Well, there was a change though.
There was?
If you go back through there, there was a change, they moved it to the third.
Okay.
Tuesday, because the POA meets on the second Tuesday.
Okay.
right.
Well, if anything, can't we just do the swearing if we find that it's not a,
If we find we can't meet on the 12th, then we'll just have a special meeting. And then if it is the 12th, then the mayor pro tem will run the meeting on the 19th.
right, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Or you could just have just have a special meeting, if you can do it, have a special meeting, just to do the transition.
Right, we'll do the
And
transition then,
Then,
yeah.
We could have a special meeting to decide we're gonna have a meeting on the 12th. Yeah.
I'll get
Unless
our-
it's illegal, we're gonna have our meeting on the 12th at 4
Yeah,
o'clock,
I mean,
right?
Yeah.
that's the
Okay.
Make
cleanest.
sure our ducks are in a row
Okay.
and
Yeah.
let you know,
Okay.
but 4 PM on the 12th does work.
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay,
And we'll double check and make sure we don't break any rules with that, cause that's one thing.
And if we do have it on the 12th, it has to be at 4 because the POA
Right.
meets
Yeah.
at 6. Okay.
right.
Very good. Hope that's clear.
So we need to make an action to move that? No? Okay.
We can't take an action on
Can't
it,
take an
it sounds
action.
like, if we need 4. As far as the mayoral announcements, I wanted to mention one thing here that, we need to do before the evening's up. And that's recognize Richard and Lillian Creasy for their 51st wedding anniversary. They're regulars. They're one of the most faithful attendees at our meetings here. And, very, very, very good to have you here, and congratulations. Anything else? Anybody else? Okay.
I
well,
move we adjourn the
gonna
meeting.
move. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. Boy, we talked a lot forever. No, I just keep up with these things. Yeah, it was tipped off. Well, yeah. Did, were you expecting me to say anything? Well, what's this gonna be about? Oh, it's us. Oh, you bet. Thank you.
Happy anniversary. Mine's 5 this year, so.